What's up YouTube, Dal here from Zephyr War Games, and today I am bringing you an update to Plunder Patrol. Now this deck has gone through a lot of changes since we received it as a TCG exclusive, mainly with the most recent reveal or the addition of Plunder Patrol Jord, meaning you no longer need to rely on something as non-searchable as booty to adapt the attributes that your opponent has. At the end of the video, I'll also show you a 2-card combo, and the 2-card combo full credit goes to Chris Lynn. His profile is on Jared's channel, and I'll put the link in the description below so you can see that. He goes in crazy amounts of depth about the deck, so he'll give you a bit more of an insight as well. I'm going to give you a basic layout of what you need to be looking for, and then I'll show you the combo at the end and everything else in between. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. So the Plunder lineup is very straightforward and cookie cutter. The only thing that changes, in my opinion, is the red beard. So you're playing triple white beard, triple black eyes, triple blue beard, triple golden hair. Some people play 2. Personally, I think 3 is the way to go. It's just such an incredibly powerful starter on its own. Like, obviously, you don't want it to be the only starter, but when it can do everything it can on its own, and literally it's just a 1-card Blackbeard, you kind of want to be maxing out on it. And opening up multiple plunders is not the end of the world. You can still do a lot of things with it. And then the only card that you don't play at 3 as well, keep in mind, you want to be able to have these in the hand so you can discard them off of your extra deck effects, is Redbeard. So Redbeard is the only one that you don't really want to be using its discard. Like, its discard effect isn't that great. So if this card is sent from the hand, all monsters zoned to the graveyard target a Plunder Patrol monster you control, and then equip this card to it. Now obviously, if you open this up turn 0 and you don't have a Plunder Patrol to equip it to it, it's completely dead. So it's a card you want to be summoning out of the deck with Whitebeard as you've made your plays, and then start utilising its effect. Which is why it's only at 2 rather than 3, as it's not really a starter or get-goer on its own. We've then got 3 Plunder Patrol, Shipyard, and 1 Terraforming. All of this very straightforward and cookie cutter. Then for the Adventure Engine, we are playing triple Water Enchantress. This actually has double usages in the deck as well, which is really important. And again, shout out to Chris Lynn, who I saw this on. It actually helps you get into Forest of the Lost Flowers, which with the return of Ancient Fairy Dragon allows you to get into your Shipyard. So for those of you that didn't know, if you control an adventure token, you can place a field spell that mentions adventure tokens from your deck face out into your field zone, and you can only use each effect once per turn. So it has an additional effect. A lot of people are like, oh, you just banish it and you get to search out a Rite of Armoricia. No, you can also activate a field spell directly from the deck that lists adventure token anyway. So I'll get to why that is useful through Ancient Fairy Dragon a little bit later on, and you'll see that in the combo. We are playing 1 Illegal Knight and 1 Griffin. You can actually get rid of Illegal Knight or Griffin if you want to, depending on which one you go for. But this gives you a very kind of cool option for a free extender with an additional form of interruption. So you've got your negate, and the best thing about this deck is there's not really a perfect time to Nibiru you. Because by the time you get to your end of the combo, if they Nibiru you, you still have plays to make, or you're protected from Nibiru being able to negate it. If they Nibiru you too early, you're still able to extend and continue to get into Jord, and Jord is what you really need to lock your opponent down. Illegal Knight is just an incredibly powerful card that can give you a very good option going second. Like, Griffin Rider's not bad going second, but you'd probably much rather have Illegal Knight, because getting this to the board gives you that nice ability to bounce and swap, and giving your opponent Illegal Knight gives them a dark on the board, which is exactly what you need and what you want in order to get to your extra deck XYZ, which is going to give you the ability to start banishing stuff, so your Moak. Finishing off, I'm only playing 2 Rite of Armoricia and the 1 Draco Bat with the 1 Fateful Adventure and the 1 Forest of Lost Flowers. Now the reason I've only gone with 2 Rites is you kind of want to be able to get to it through your Water Enchantress. You can very easily play it at 3. It was just something that I wanted to do to keep the deck at 40. But you can very easily bump it out of 41 cards and have 3 Rites, and it will do the exact same job for you. The Forest of Lost Flowers. So you're very rarely going to actually activate its own effects. But once per turn, when your adventure token destroys a monster by battle, you get to draw a card, which is really nice. And then once per turn, during your main phase, if the previous effect was activated this turn, you can add a field spell that mentions adventure token from your deck or graveyard to the hand. Now, obviously, you're not going to be doing that, but the draw power is quite nice. What you're going to be doing more times than not is turn 0 is you're going to be able to activate this directly from the deck, make Ancient Fairy Dragon. Ancient Fairy Dragon will blow this up, and then this will give you access to the field spell. And the field spell, by the time you've gone through your combo, will give you access to Golden Hair, Blue Beard, you name it. So more draws, more extension, more plays. We then have a fat stack of hand traps being the main of the format. So these are adaptive depending on your local environment. What you ideally want to be aiming for is you want to be aiming for more hand trap monsters, which is why we don't play Imperm, because you're going to be drawing these off of stuff like Blackbeard, so you want to be able to use them straight away in order to utilize everything you need to. So we do play triple Ash, 2 Ghost Spell, 2 Veiler, and double Nib. The reason Nib is so important is because Nib actually gives your opponent a light monster, and then you're going to be able to utilize that to get into your light, which is your monster effect negator. The final hand traps we play are 2 Magnamoots and the 1 Druid Swarm. Chris did also play the Column Dragon, I think it's like Titanium Dragon, and it's such a really kind of cool card. It's one of the ones that you can search off a Magnamoot, and you summon it down and you basically like nuke the entire column and then lock your opponent out of said columns for the rest of that turn. So it's kind of a cool option for you to use if you want to, but I quite like the idea of double Magnamoot and the 1 Druid Swarm, just because not only can they help you get into Synchro level 10s, but they can also help you disrupt your opponent with their graveyard, and you're not committing too heavily to this. On top of that as well, Nibiru's and Vaders in your graveyards can also be utilised as fodder for these to be banished to summon, which is the best thing you want when you're utilising a card like the Bestials. So that's it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. So again, the extra deck is pretty tight packed. So you're going to be rocking 3 of your Blackbeard. This is your main go-to monster because this is going to give you the draw and it gives you the ability to tag into any of your others. It's rare that you're actually going to hard summon any of your other cards, but you do want to be playing doubles of them, in my opinion. So we're going to be rocking 2 Lice, 2 Moek. So Lice is the monster negator, Moek is the banish of a monster, and then your Bran is the back row hate, and it obviously gives you a nice attack boost of all other Fiend monsters gain 500 attack. Now, the fact that it mentions Fiends is quite important because there is another card that we are playing in the extra deck, Rosa, that is a Fiend that you can make it into a mini boss monster that can also negate. And then, of course, you've got 2 George. Some people can consider to play this at 1 if you want to because it cycles itself back. But it was very valuable that if you lose 1 copy, that's it. You're not being able to play with George. And especially in a Kashtira matchup, like Jordan, your opponent, is incredibly powerful because you give them a token, they can't special summon their stuff down. And then depending on what you've made that token's attribute, if they were to go, okay, cool, activate Birth, normal summon something, you can then still use, for example, Moek to banish it, not the token but the monster, or Lice to negate, anything like that. So you still have plenty of options there. For the cards that aren't Plunder Patrols, we do play the 1 Almirage because this is obviously off the back of a Golden Hair. So it turns Golden Hair into 1 card Blackbeard because you go Golden Hair into normal summon Golden Hair into Almirage, add Golden Hair back, and then get it to the board and go into Blackbeard. And then for the others that very rarely do get played, but Ancient Fairy Dragon, so the idea behind this is when you summon this, it will give you the ability to blow up your field spell, which will be the Adventure Field spell, search you out the shipyard, activate the shipyard, get your effects going off, and you've gained 1,000 life points as well. Then we've got the 1 spicy involvement of Groza, the Tyrant of Thunder. So it's just a generic level 8, but during your opponent's main phase, quick effect, you target an effect monster on the field, discard 1 monster, so any monster you want. And if you do, negate its effects, and it discards as effect, not as cost as well. So it will be triggering off your Plunder Patrols, which means you can re-equip, it means you can summon out White and everything else like that. And the final one we play instead of Baron, but if you wanted to play Baron, you can, is the Ice Jade Gimir. Now the reason we play this is because it's just an incredibly powerful card against Kashtiras. So if your local environment is flooded with cash, I'd probably go with this over Baron in my opinion. But if it's not, then you can probably go for Baron. So what makes this so good is it's a water tuner, which is exactly all of your tuners in the deck are, apart from your hand traps, of course, and 1 non-tuner. So it will require you to use the Bestial. It's a level 10. You have a quick effect to activate this effect. Face-up monsters you control cannot be destroyed or banished by your opponent's card effects this turn. So very, very good to protect your Moek, your Bran, Blackbeard, everything like that. On top of that as well, if you activate this in response to an opponent's card effect, so for example a Fenrir, you can actually then, I believe, banish that card as well. So then if you activate this effect in response to your opponent's card or effect activation, and your opponent has a card or cards with that name on the field or in the graveyard, you get to banish those cards. So if they've got a couple of Fenrirs in the graveyard, you banish them as well. If that wasn't enough, if this card is banished by your opponent's card effect while is if a card or cards is banished by your opponent's card effect while this card is in the graveyard, except during damage state, you get to special summon it back to the board. So it's a 3k boss monster that floats. So it's another nice alternative. It's not something you absolutely have to play. It was just one of the ones where it's like if you haven't got access to Baron or can't get hold of Baron, then you still have a very good option as a nice level 10. And it does put in quite a good work shift for this current format. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to show you the 2-card combo courtesy of Chris Lynn. So the 2-card combo is going to consist of Whitebeard and Right. It can also be Water Enchantress if you want to. If it is Water Enchantress, you just don't get an extra follow-up of a second Right halfway through the combo. But if it is, it still gets you the same end board. So you're going to start off by activating Right, and Right is going to allow you to summon out an adventure token while also playing Fateful Adventure into your spell and trap zone. You then get to normal summon down your Whitebeard, triggering the effect of Fateful to add you your Draco back. Use the effect of Fateful to add Water Enchantress and discard the Draco back, re-equipping to the token. You then get to special summon down your Water Enchantress because you control the token. You can then use the secondary effect of Water Enchantress to activate Forest of the Lost Flowers directly from the deck into the spell field zone. At this point, you then use your tuner of Whitebeard and your non-tuner of Water Enchantress and go into Ancient Fairy Dragon. In doing so, you can trigger Whitebeard's effect to summon a Golden Hair directly from the deck. So now you've got your board state pretty much set up and good to rock and roll. So what you're going to be able to do here is you can banish the Water Enchantress to get you a follow-up of the Rite of Armoricia, and you're going to activate your Ancient Fairy to get rid of the Forest of the Lost Flowers and give you a Plunder Patrol Shipyard. So if you wanted to, you could activate this for a Black Eyes or anything a bit more for extension if you want to as well. We're just going to keep it at the base minimum to show you what your hand can end like as the end. So you're then going to sync your Golden Hair plus your Adventure token and go into Jord. You can then use Jord's effect, so this will allow you to obviously add back Whitebeard from grave to hand. You could add back Golden Hair if you wanted to, and it will put it into the Pendulum Zones. Then use the effect of Jord to give your opponent a token and yourself a token. Make sure you declare the attribute that you want to go into. In our example, we're going to want to go into a dark for Moak. So we're going to be able to go, okay, cool, excellent. And what you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to use the token and the Ancient Fairy Dragon. And you're going to go into a Blackbeard. You're then going to use Blackbeard's effect, which will put itself into the ship of Moak and allow you to draw a card. So as you can see here, we're pretty much set good to go. We've got the Moak play ready to rock and roll. Plus we've got a follow up with a Shipyard and a Right if we need to. And you've got a guaranteed of at least one Plunder Troll to be discarded for your Moak. You could activate Shipyard and guarantee a second. And then you're going to be in a very good position in order to kind of deal with that. Not to mention you'll still also have 3 additional cards in the hand to play around with that can then interrupt and interact with your opponent. So that's it for the combo, and that is it for the profile. If you do have any questions at all, by all means, please let me know in the comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them for you. But for now, as absolutely always, smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe. Stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.